Previously on the last review.
Genghis Khan was your name, right? The minis are all set.
Just what are these guys?
They're lost toys. They could use a home, if you get what I mean.
Whoa, wait. We may be in the business of collecting, but what can these guys even do?
Well, that's up to Genghis to decide.
I think I know what I'm gonna do with you guys.
Give us purpose.
Purpose.
So, what shall their purpose be?
You guys are gonna become my inspiration.
Inspiration.
Model.
Whoa, I'm not sure if I understand this whole modeling business, but this is a little bit too much.
Hey, don't overthink it, Flatline. All you have to do is just broadcast the news that we're opening.
Make us famous.
Famous.
Oh, I'll definitely spread the word, alright. But, give me some time. I need to practice.
Well, at least that's sorted out. Still, I have to ask, why do this in the first place?
Well, I've always wanted to start up a little modeling agency for our models here, so I don't see why we can't build one for the lost toys.
Nang, don't get me wrong. I understand you want to help these toys, but don't you think we should prepare ourselves? The last prime snuck under my radar. Who knows how powerful the next one's going to be? Maybe convert the agency into some kind of operation center?
You know, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we could turn the modeling agency into like a barracks so we can start recruiting soldiers.
Now that sounds like a great idea. Ooh, can I be in charge of recruiting? Absolutely not. If someone should be in charge, it'll be me. Besides, I know the perfect set of soldiers who'll fit in.
Wait, you don't mean...
Nang, I think it's time that I call them. Give yourself a week to prepare. The primes won't know what's in store for them.
Hello guys, welcome back. It's Genghis-KHAN. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm the fabulous leader of the Decepti-KHAN army. And today, as you may have saw, we're going to be finally reviewing these little guys, finally. It's the Alteration, Barricade and Blackout, but their actual names are Guard and Storm. So yeah, this is going to be really exciting, you guys. So just kind of a little bit of a heads up or a bit of a note. So in all my reviews, I do a little bit of some storytelling with, with these figures, but I try to keep the story parts separate from the review. So like case in point, what I'm going to say is that even though that Quintus did give me these toys, I actually got these guys off of eBay. So 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness, they are actually real. Oh my goodness, they're actually real. Oh geez. That's what I kind of mean. I do want to kind of talk about the inspiration where I got these guys, like pretty much like why I bought them. I think it was Megaz's video. I think it was a video where he was like reviewing knockoff toys. And I was very curious about these because I think in his video he was talking about how poor the quality was with his toys, especially with Guard here. So that made me kind of curious about wanting to find these guys. And I actually happened to find one on eBay, actually, because the seller was actually selling them separately, actually. I think you can get like a pack of 6 for like $28, I think, on Amazon. I'll have to go double check. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and kind of see what Alteration Man can do here. Let's get started with their articulation. Alright, so let's get started with the articulation for these guys. I'm going to start off with Storm first, and then we'll go over to Guard. So let's begin. So Storm doesn't have any head rotation. You can't even look up or down with him. His arms can rotate. You can lift his arms up just like this. He does look like he has hands in his arms, but they're pretty small and almost kind of non-existent, so there's not much you can really do with this. He has no waist rotation, but he is capable of bending over just a little bit. His legs can kick forward, but he can't really kick his legs back very much because his little tail thing kind of gets in the way. He has knee bend. Although it looks a little weird that his legs kind of bend in this direction. I don't know. He does look fabulous, all right? He does look fabulous like this, but still, it does kind of bother me that his knees kind of bend like this. He's capable of doing the splits, at least in this direction. He doesn't have a foot, so there's no foot rotation, nor does he have any ankle tilt. And lastly, he does have his propellers back here. You basically just kind of unfold this. It was a little bit kind of tricky unfolding it, but it basically just kind of rotates just like this, and then you can basically spin his propellers, so it's a nice little feature. And that takes care of Storm's articulation, so let's go ahead and move over to Guard next. Moving on to Guard's articulation, he has no head rotation, but you can actually have his head bob up and down like this. So at least he has some kind of head movement, like he can basically nod his head just like this. His arms can go all the way around. He cannot do a T-pose. His arm is like one solid piece, so there's no like elbow bend. His hands look like this. They look pretty non-existent. And unfortunately, they are flat, so you really can't do anything with his hands. He has no waist rotation, but he is capable of bending over. You can swing his legs forward as well as backwards, which means yes, he can actually do the splits. He does have knee bend. He doesn't have much leg rotation. His foot does have rotation, but there's no ankle tilt. His foot can bend, and I think this is just due to his transformation. And yeah, that kind of takes care of Guard's articulation. This is going to be a little bit interesting how we're going to do photos with them, but let's see what we can really do with them, all right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next section. I'm well aware that their articulation is pretty limiting, so I decided that in celebration of our grand opening of our modeling agency, these guys are going to serve as inspiration for a photo shoot idea that I have. I know that Father's Day is past, but we're going to do a Father's Day inspired photo shoot with these guys. So let's see how these guys model with our other models we have for a little Father's Day photo shoot. And judging by these characters, I think you know who we're going to be using for this photo shoot. So let's go ahead and take some pictures. Alright, now that the photo shoot is done, I figure I'll go ahead and share you the best picture for both Barricade and Blackout here, since they're also, part of the photo shoot. So here is Barricade's best picture.
Whoa.
Work.
And here is Blackout's best picture. Aww. It is actually really cute. So yeah, there we go. There's our best picture for both Blackout and Barricade in the little Father's Day photo shoot. So Alteration Man comes with no accessories. In fact, even if they did have accessories, they wouldn't be able to do much with them because starting with Guard, his hands are really flat. Like he literally cannot grab or grapple anything, nor can you really slot anything. So he practically can't hold anything, unfortunately. But this is what he would look like if he did had hands. So this is sort of what he would look like with swords, but yeah, he really can't hold anything. And the same goes with Storm. Unfortunately, even though that he does look like he's got like ports in his hands though, unfortunately the weapons, when you try to peg them in, they're too big. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have anything small enough that neither of these guys can equip. Unfortunately, Storm and Guard cannot equip anything. So I guess that kind of explains why they have no accessories. Also, guys, I forgot to record this earlier, but I wanted to include it in the video. But the seller did actually left me a little thank you card. So here's what the card looks like. I wasn't sure where I wanted to put this in the video, so I'm just going to kind of put it here in the accessory section. It's not really kind of accessories for these toys, but I still wanted to hang on to it since it was kind of like a nice little keepsake. I guess it's sort of like a nice little memento for these guys. I mean, I know most people won't really keep this, but now that's what I call being a collector. Okay, guys, it's time for the transformation, and we're going to start off with Storm first, so here are the instructions. Now, before I proceed, there are 3 things I need to point out about the packaging here. Let's kind of start with the instructions here. So they look perfectly fine, right? I want you guys to look at the instructions and then look at Storm really quick. Now, I don't know if you guys see what I see, but do you see what's wrong with this picture? So if it's not kind of obvious, the first step, you're supposed to start with the helicopter mode first. So he should be in his alt mode, but he's not in his alt mode. And as far as I know, like he literally starts off in robot mode. So I'm like really confused why the instructions want you to start off in his helicopter mode when he's already in robot mode. I don't know. I don't know who organized the instructions for this, but that definitely means I have to do his transformation backwards. So Yeah, maybe they intended to have it start in helicopter mode, but this is a little bit kind of confusing. Now, obviously, the other thing you may notice is the spelling. The spelling, Transmarian? I don't know. They definitely misspelled transformation, but I don't know if they were trying to do this to kind of make it sound edgy or to avoid copyright or whatnot, but I don't know. And yes, this is what it does say on the box. It does say transmoration, whatever it says. I have no idea. Now, the nice thing is that Storm does have a little stat card up here. Definitely really reminds me of like when I first got Voyager Blackout, because he definitely had stats like these. Again, it's very kind of nostalgic seeing this. But that's definitely not one of the things I want to critique on. This, though, where it says car robot toy, I'm pretty sure helicopters are not cars. Like, they're vehicles, but this doesn't look like a car. So calling it a car robot toy, I don't know. I think that's kind of the weird thing, because if I looked at the whole lineup, like, I'm pretty sure every single one of the vehicles is a car, except for this guy, who is a flying vehicle. So I don't know. It's kind of nitpicky. I know it's kind of stupid, but just those are just like the three things I wanted to point out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kind of take a look at Storm's transformation. So here's my transformation attempt on Alteration Man Storm. And here he is. He basically is just a mini blackout. I mean, yeah, he pretty much is just a mini blackout. His propeller does actually move, so you can actually spin it around. Unfortunately, the tail propeller does not rotate. It's just like a big piece of plastic, but his transformation is really straightforward, really simple. Even if you just throw out the box, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have any issues trying to transform him. I was a little bit confused about how to fold his legs, but that's kind of the only other thing I was a little bit hung up on. I would kind of say his transformation, I'm going to give him a 1 out of 10 on difficulty. Like, he's probably the first guy that's going to get a 1 out of 10 on difficulty. So again, I don't think he wasn't too difficult, so he shouldn't really be too hard to kind of figure out. But yeah, this is our nice little attempt on Storm. Time to move on over to Guard. All right, so here's Guard's instructions. As you can see, they're very much the same thing like Storm. And again, like, look at the spelling on this. Transmarian, again, I'm pretty sure that they wanted to avoid, I guess, like copyright or trademark on the word, but I'm pretty sure the word transformation is not trademark. I don't know. If anyone wants to like correct me on that. Pretty much unlike Storm, though, his instructions are actually correct. He actually does start off in robot mode. The only thing I will nitpick on this, though, is that step number 2, I don't know if it's just me, but step number 2 doesn't really have anything going on. I don't know. It literally looks like there's nothing happening. So I feel like this is an extra step. I don't know. There's something really weird of the fact that step number 2, there isn't really anything happening. I don't know. But at least this is a car robot toy. Like, it literally is a car. So at least that's correct. So I will say that at least Guard's box looks perfectly fine. It doesn't look like there's too many issues aside from the spelling. And of course, here is the stats for Guard. And then it's time to see what his transformation is going to look like. So here's my transformation attempt on Alteration Man Guard. All right, and here's my attempt on Guard. And again, he just looks like a mini barricade. So unlike Storm, I kind of had issues getting his arms on the right spot. So his legs actually were the easy part. But I had some issues getting his arms folding in, but otherwise this is what he looks like. Again, he just looks like a mini barricade, so not really anything to kind of write home on, but overall he does look really nice. On difficulty on him, I would give him a 1.5 out of 10. Again, I was kind of a little bit stuck on the arms, but he still looks really nice though. I did try to see if I could roll him, but his wheels, some of his wheels feel really tight and the others are loose. You know, they move pretty freely, so at least he's still able to kind of roll on the ground. So that kind of takes care of my transformation attempt on both characters here. Yeah, what is there to say about these guys? Yeah, what is there to kind of say about these guys? Because, again, like, they're knockoffs, so I don't really think they're gonna really be that impressive. But I mean, they're cute though, don't get me wrong, they are really cute. Oh, but there's kind of a lot of problems with them, particularly the articulation. Like, I honestly don't know who's worse, like whose articulation is the worst. If I think he's like the worst, or do I think that Jay is the worst? I guess the one thing I don't like about him though is that his propeller, as you might kind of notice, like, it does get kind of stuck down here sometimes, which is kind of an easy fix. But every time when you need to like move his legs, this has a tendency, like right now, if I want to try to move his legs, like this has a tendency to kind of move this thing up. And it might kind of cause his propellers to get kind of stuck or not able to move. So that's probably one thing that I don't really like about him. And again, like I think his articulation is probably the worst out of the two, because you really can't really do much with this guy. Like, he can bend his knee, but like his knee bend is a little bit weird because it's off to the side like this. I would say that Guard's articulation is slightly a little bit better. I wish that he had like head rotation. The only problem I have with this guy is that he doesn't stand very well, at least like without like something to support him, basically, because as you may have saw in some of the photos, he's just like sitting down. I mean, he's cute, all right? Like, again, he's really, really cute, but he was mostly sitting down a lot in the pictures. The only way for him to really stand up is if he was kind of leaning onto something, like as you saw with the barricade shots. Yeah, for whatever reason, he doesn't really stand very well. That's all I'm just saying. He doesn't really stand very well, even though that he has like knee bend, which is kind of crazy. He's got knee bend, but yet I can't get him to stand up pretty well. Both of these figures, they're actually kind of a good quality. I'm really actually surprised, as I remember, I think it was on the Amazon site, I remember someone posted their review on Amazon and they had like a really flimsy version of one of these guys. They had like the fake Optimus Prime version and they were just doing this, and it looked like they were jingling keys or something, and it looked so sad and so funny. I don't know if that review is still there, but that's one of the things where I'm really surprised that both Guard and Storm, they're like really good quality. Like, at least for mine, they're not very loose or anything. They feel pretty nice. You know, I suppose I got pretty lucky that these guys came out pretty well. At least, like, I will say that the big strength that both these guys have is that their transformation is pretty easy, and honestly, they look better in their old modes. They do kind of make really nice accessories, and especially since I kind of feel like they are better off being paired with other characters a little bit. But yeah, I'm actually really kind of surprised how these guys turned out. They're not terrible, but I think there's a few redeeming qualities about them, though. So would I recommend Guard and Storm? I mean, if you have a love-hate relationship with knockoffs, I mean, knock yourself out. Yes, knock yourself out with the knockoffs here. But you know, I picked them up because they do remind me a little bit of like this guy, at least. He does remind me of my very first action figure that I got, which was the Voyager class of Blackout. He definitely reminds me of him so much. Especially when you look at the back of that box and you see like the stat card at the top right. Oh, like pure nostalgia when I look back at that, you know. That's why, like I said, that's why he reminds me so much of the Voyager class of Blackout. So these guys are like a really nice little keepsake. I don't know if you can still find these on Amazon though, because keep in mind, I bought mine from eBay. Because again, like the person who was selling these, they were selling them separately. So I did not even have to buy the entire pack. I just bought just these two. Which, by the way, I think these are like the only two Decepticons in the pack and everybody else is an Autobot. Which really kind of surprises me, because of all the Decepticons, I'm surprised they didn't have a fake Megatron. But I don't know. I'll have to check to see if the original toy of these guys had a Megatron. But if you do happen to find them, I can't guarantee that the quality or the brand name is going to be the same, because I'm pretty sure there's different brand names for these guys. But I don't know if that really kind of matters too much, because it's pretty much like the same toy. I just can't guarantee the quality. So I did saw that there were some listings on eBay for them individually. So, you know, you got two avenues where you can knock yourself out. That kind of wraps up my review for Alteration Man. And honestly, you know, they're not that bad, actually. They definitely have served as a great inspiration for modeling agency here. So I think they did a great job. So I'm sure we're going to see more of these guys in the future here. So unfortunately, I can't really get them to wave goodbye here, but I'll see if I can roll the clip of them waving goodbye. If you guys like this review, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you are new, and I shall see you guys on the next review. Alright, so have a good night, you guys.